Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Schlage part number 26098. This is a mortise cylinder. This includes a O-bitted removable core. They're full-size interchangeable core, which is, we ordered it O-bitted, but they sent it one-bitted, and we'll talk about that in a moment. 2 copies of the blank with a K510-711 cam. That's the Adams Wright style cam in a 2¼ inch length. So this is a highly irregular or unusual cylinder, and I have it right here. 2¼ inch length. This is the reason this cylinder had to be ordered was because the client has a 3-inch thick gate that a very high profile outdoor recreational area in New York City that will have the, let's just say that it is a high profile. A gate to this outdoor recreational facility that is, I don't know how long this development is, but it's a repurposing of elevated train tracks that is now an outdoor public space. Incredibly epic, having visited it myself personally. Well, they've got these 3-inch thick steel gates, and they have Adams Wright MS 1850 series, deadbolts mounted in the bottom rail, but they're 3-inch long, or 3-inch thick. The client uses Schlage full size FSIC, full size, not large format. Schlage calls it full size. I think that's a marketing attempt to discern themselves from small format. What's better, large format or small format? Which do you want? I think Schlage, probably and cleverly used large format to differentiate their removable core from everybody else's. Everyone else calls it large format. Schlage calls it full size, rather than full size rather than small is the term. So Schlage calls it FSIC. Everyone else calls it LFIC, but then your small format, your best in all clones, is SFIC. Anyway, this is Schlage's removable core itself. And we are sending these cores to the client so that they have a way to operate the locks, because they have ordered a third-party type of interchangeable core that is fully compatible with the Schlage format. And that company, that third-party company, has, I believe it is a system of smart key technology that I know that Medico has, and I think they call it CLIQ, C-L-I-Q. Don't quote me, I don't remember. But these unusual cores require a Schlage format. And I've been able to find that. It's a cylinder called by Cyberlock, CL-LF01, which is a method of, it's a high security type cylinder is what I'm stammering at. So we're supplying these, what is one-bitted. The reason they're one-bitted and not O-bitted, oh, this is the control key. So here are the operating keys. Schlage will always send them one-bitted so that the cuts on the key have something to bite onto when you are using a control key. The control key's got that little extra tip on it that will permit you to retract the pin that keeps it inside the cylinder right here. If it was O-bitted, you'd still be able to turn it, but then you can't grip the cylinder to pull it out. Other manufacturers like Yale, they'll send you an O-bitted control blank, but if you happen to have an O-bitted large format core in their housing and try to turn that control key, the control key will slide right out, and then you've got to tap on the back of the cylinder to get it out. And it will come out. But that's why Schlage does it that way. So they're not coming O-bitted. They're one-bitted. That cylinder, the 26098, that's going to include the part number is 23030 is what this part number is. Typical 23030 is the cylinder. And this core is just a C keyway. The classic obverse set of, I think, 7 original non-restricted, non-protected keyways, and there was no reason to make them anything but that, because these unfortunately are going to act as temporaries, but I'm sure, I will at least hope that the client will salvage these to use them in a future project. So we've got the control key, and we've explained how that works. That will go into this cylinder, and really what Schlage has done here is they've taken material and they've built this Frankenstein, so to speak, with a cylinder extension here. Now, this is 2 1/4. 3-inch gate. Why in the world such a long cylinder? Cylinders are measured from the underside of the head to the back of the cam. This is 2 1/4, as I said earlier. The problem is, what we need is 1.5 inches. Schlage will not make 1.5 inches. The Schlage standard cylinder is 1 3/8. That's going to be too short. Suppose we could have now that I'm thinking of it, we probably could have skinned that cat by getting, I believe this thread type is 440. Don't quote me. Or 348 or 440. It's one of the two. I just don't remember. I could have taken an Adams Right cam and ground the tip off, used it as a stacking block, and run longer screws to pick up that extra length. But what we opted to do was to go with, after 1 3/8, the shortest neck size they would make, 2 1/4. We're obligated by that Schlage full-size format, or as a result of the client cylinder. We are dealing with an Adams Right lock, so we've got that K510-711. I was just looking at the part number to operate our typical Adams Right lock, and that's it. You're going to get the Adams Right set screws. Your Adams Right lock body is going to have set screws to hold the cylinders in. Schlage provides these, and I'm thinking it's because the profile of what they're doing on their cylinder is going to require a different tip to the set screw than what Adams Right is going to naturally provide. Okay? And I'm thinking in this case the client's going to use the longer one because it has a radiused tip to it. Relatively radiused, rather than extremely pointed like the other one. So those would be used to prevent that cylinder from moving at all, meaning if the set screw is not seated into the cylinder properly, you're still going to have a small amount of movement. You don't want any movement. You don't want that when you're operating the cylinder. You don't want it to move in that micro fashion. So that's why I'm sure that they're sending those. It's also going to include your collar and your wave washer. Your cylinder collar is going to be included. Compression ring and spring. That's your compression ring. That's got a part number to it. I think it's 26083. I'll check that. And then your spring, that's called a wave washer. If you use your imagination, you can see why we would call it a wave washer. So all of this together, we went with 2 1/4 because if you've got a 3-inch thick door, let's back that off 1/8 of an inch. The 26098 will include these two pieces, but what I'm not showing in this video are the Yale cylinder collars, which was a part number 1765. So what we did was we've got a 1765, because Schlage doesn't make this, a 1765 cylinder collar that's got a 3/4 inch dimension from the underside of the head to the back. So that's going to pick us up, taking this 2 1/4 down to 1.5 inches, theoretically. You toss the wave washer inside of there, and now you're going to be able to play with that. It's this, except that the dimension from the shoulder to the backside is 3/4 inch. So these cylinders are really going to stick out quite a bit, is the bottom line. But where these are going, it's really not going to matter. There'll only be, really 3/4 of the cylinder hanging out. So it'll look just fine when it's all said and done. So that cylinder collar, a 26083, it's a 36083 is what it is. And that's going to get you the compression ring and spring. Okay. Client won't end up using this. Hopefully they'll end up reusing them somewhere else. You're going to get your two C keyway 6-pin 1-bitted blanks. The control key is not included. It's only here for purposes of this video to demonstrate. The difference between the control key and the operating key is this extra little tip. This is the control key on the top. And that extra little tip is what allows the pin to be retracted so that we can, a counterclockwise rotation of about 15 degrees will allow that core to be removed. The driver that's stuck down in there is the new style driver that will allow Primus, Everest, Primus cylinders to work inside of there. And what I'm referring to is the driver. When I move this, it's the driver that's moving. It's cut on 4 sides. The prior versions were not like that. I think it might be prior to 1992. It doesn't really matter. I just happen to be something that I'm aware of. And other than that, there's nothing else that's included. So the bottom line is the purpose of this video is to show you a highly unusual and expensive mortise cylinder from Schlage, typical, incredibly high quality caliber that you, at least I know that I expect from Schlage. I can tell you that this mortise cylinder extension with these 2 screws, those are certainly drilled and tapped back into this housing because I've done this kind of work in the past to extend mortise cylinders. I didn't do this. Probably could have. They're major manufacturers mortise cylinder extension kit, so it might be something interesting to view what they have. I've taken cylinders and forced them to work in instances where they're not expected to work, grinding, welding, cutting, things of that nature. And that's really all that's been done here. They've got an extension that's screwed, drilled, and tapped to the housing. They're obviously going to have an extension driver to run the cam, but that's all easily available. Okay, just really great material that's happening here on the Schlage stuff. There's nothing else I don't think to talk about on the cylinder. There is a link below this video to a document called Product Catalog. Doesn't really show much except list the 26098. What may be of help is to tell you, in terms of the 26098 family of material, or the length of the cylinder, $26,098. And I dug up the part number that's used for this in particular cylinder. It's the XB11-475. XB11-475 indicates a full-size interchangeable core mortise cylinder that can be manufactured between 2 1/4 and 5 inch in length. Okay, so that's the shortest possible way to do a full-size FSIC by Schlage. Couldn't do 1.5 inch, couldn't do anything shorter than 2 1/4 is the bottom line. And again, this video is to serve as visual evidence of a highly unusual cylinder that I wanted to capture. Any questions on the Schlage 26098 or any of its subcomponents or any variant of an XB11-475 or any other Schlage product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.